Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cristina Murcia, and my capstone project is called Closeted Discussions, sparking conversations around queer identity and the future of design and design thinking. Closeted Discussions actually began in 2019 with a project I created in my woodworking class, inspired by Hans H. Wagner's valet chair. I decided to create a valet hanger inspired by that chair to talk about my masculinity and my relationship to suit jackets. In these sketches, what made me think about was creating a piece that could display clothing that makes you feel your most queer and confident self. So this piece is meant to celebrate queerness, celebrate that fluidity, that movement, but connect us through time and this idea of returning back to innocence, returning back to exploration that we had as kids. For my second round of sketches, on my left, I decided to draw a mobile that would be hanging on top of the spectator to then experience this more of a kinetic sculpture. And on my right, I drew a mechanism very similar to a carousel. I also experimented with adding a mirror so people could see themselves trying on clothes, or streamers that are different colors from the outside to the inside to create more of a public and private space. With this inspiration board, I began looking at objects that display clothing or hang clothing to see how they could adapt to movement and form and how they depicted playfulness and fluidity. Community building and discussions is really important to me, so I decided to reach out on my Instagram and to friends of mine to send me photos or videos of articles of clothing that have made them feel their most confident self and their relationship to clothing and their queerness. I have pictures of crew socks and cargo pants that depict a point in their lives that represented a moment where they felt free and accepted. When thinking of form and scale, I decided to do a photo set of clothes put in a playground. All of them were arranged in a color coordination as a way of putting more intention into the installations. These pieces all were meant to move with the wind, to depict movement and fluidity, as well as to tell us about scale. Closeted Discussions follows my own journey towards becoming closer to freeing myself from the confines of gender roles and machismo to finally envision queer liberation. My installation is geared towards, but not limited to, the queer community, to highlight a larger conversation around designing for communities often overlooked. This project will enhance one's relationship to identity and self-expression through finding connections around overlooked objects such as a traditional clothes hanger, to redefine them as symbols towards a queer futurity. It will invite you to see another way where queerness is explored, and clothing is not about choices and limitations, but rather an invitation to return to a more fluid and adaptable self-expression. Continuing on in this project, I'm going to continue reaching out to artists and other queer people to give their input on what makes them feel queer and what makes them feel seen, to then hopefully create a sculpture that will celebrate identity.